So you want a main scout, huh? Or maybe you're just good enough to want to improve your scout game. Okay, I feel you. I personally have a preference for the winger, but everyone will have their own opinion. Hell, sometimes you want to use a different pistol for different situations, such as the map that you're playing on, while still having a strong preference such as myself. So I've come up with a series of examples and paradigms to help consult with yourself to see what kind of pistol you should stick with most of the time, but keep in mind you can always switch it up and play the pistol that you need for a particular situation. Remember, you don't have to commit to one of these pistols all the time. Before we get into analyzing your own playstyle and strategies though, it's important to first look at the stats of these two weapons and attempt to have a deeper understanding of how these are fundamentally different weapons. And even more importantly, understand what your pistol should be used for as a good scout. I'm sure most of you know this by now, but I want to make this abundantly clear to anybody out there that wants to improve at Scout. Your pistol first and foremost plays a role as an emergency last-ditch effort when your scattergun has no shells left and you know your opponent is weak enough to be peppered off by 1 or 2 or maybe 3 shots from your pistol. Essentially meaning that your pistol plays a great utility in being able to finish off enemies that are very low on HP, faster than it would take to reload a shell in your scattergun. When I play MG, I see a lot of new scouts make the mistake of landing maybe 40 points of damage, then immediately spraying down their pistol while their opponent still has 80 HP or more. Keep in mind that your pistol has very little damage output, and it's much more reliable to just duck and cover and reload your scattergun in a situation like that. I will reiterate this a lot, but your first shell will reload in 0.76 seconds, and your ones that follow will be 0.56 seconds, so keep that in mind while calculating just how many shots you're going to need to re-engage again. But when should you reload your scattergun and when should you use your pistol to finish off? Well, this varies greatly from situation to situation, with circumstances such as 1. How important is the pick, i.e. is it the demo or the medic? 2. Is this enemy being healed currently? 3. If you fall back for reloading, will it give your opponent too much of an advantage? 4. Is your enemy being backed up by his team that's catching on to your positioning? And 5. Have you completely lost the element of surprise? All these factors and more still play major roles into which you should be always mindful of when playing Scout. However, instead of boring you with scenarios, I'll just make a fun little paradigm of sorts for newer players to follow and more experienced players to be able to analyze themselves on. So keep in mind that this example will work generally the same for both the winger and the stock pistol. When your opponent has 25 HP or less, and you're out of ammo in your scattergun, just go for the pistol. 90-10 advantage there, always, pretty much. If your opponent has 25 to 50 HP, calculate your advantages, the importance of the pick, i.e. is it the medic, and confidence in the pistol, and base your twitch decision off of that. If your opponent has 50 to 60 HP left, again, calculate your surroundings, but I highly recommend reloading unless you know you have a great advantage in the situation, i.e. if it was a medic by himself and you're in point-blank range. If your opponent has more than 60 HP, just reload, unless you're just trying to troll with your pistol. That's always fun. While these numbers are obviously not absolute, with my experience, these are the numbers that I typically keep in mind when calculating what to do against my opponents, and I think as you grow as a player, you'll develop a feeling for these HP zones, and maybe you already have that feeling, so good on you if you do. The winger and the stock pistol are both legal in every single whitelist as of the time making this video, and the competitive scene of TF2 overall has no real gripes with the weapon. And the community even seems to have a certain respect for scouts that use it, as it's almost like a prestigious show-offy weapon that only super secret society of superior scout sportspersons would use. When I can tell you, it's really nothing of the sort. Well, not the SSSSSS. No, that's real. No, I mean, the winger is actually much less intimidating than it might seem at first. And it really doesn't take that much time to adjust to as long as you're good at locking your aim, and it kind of actually shows with the equip rates of the overall casual version of the game. While 12% of owners equipping it may not seem high at first, when compared to the Force of Nature, which is equipped by 14% of owners, and it seems like every scout in the world uses the Force of Nature in casual pubs, it seems like a lot of casual scouts actually enjoy using the winger. once you get the handle of it at least, the Winger actually turns out to be one of the well-designed side grades in the Scout's arsenal in nearly every single level of play, be it casual, pubs, competitive, sixes, Highlander, anything really. The stock pistol boasts 12-shot mag capacity with a base damage of 15, doing a maximum damage of 22 at a point-blank range. It has an incredibly high rate of fire, attack earn roll of 0.17 seconds, and it reloads in 1.25 seconds. There's one huge key to both the stock pistol and the Winger that I actually did not know until the making of this video, and it's seriously not talked about enough. As I'm sure you know by now, the stock revolver and the Ambassador have 100% accuracy on the first bullet, as so many pretentious spy mains will tell you. However, the spy revolvers are actually not the only weapons in the game with this hidden mechanic, as both the stock pistol, the Winger, and the sniper's submachines also utilize this mechanic. All of Scout's pistols have a spread recovery time equivalent to his reload time, which means that the first bullet will always have 100% accuracy, and it will be optimal to just spray away after the first shot until you reload your magazine. But be sure to give a little extra time aiming that first guaranteed accurate shot. This hidden mechanic actually gives the Winger a little bit more viability, since you will probably be reloading quite more often than the stock pistol when your 5 shots don't do the trick. Whether or not you have the best aim in the world, this is always a liability with a Winger, as it will happen. The Winger has a higher base damage than the stock, having a 5-shot mag capacity, but base damage of 17 versus the stock pistol's 15. Point blank damage will ramp up to 26 instead of 22, meaning that if you stand next to a sniper that has no idea what's going on, aka F2P on 2 Fort, you can just stand next to him and empty your mag into him and he'll die in quite a hilarious way. On top of that, extra damage means that this gun is technically superior to stock at peppering off enemies that are very low in HP, since the first shot is guaranteed accurate and guaranteed to do more damage. Its extra jump height means that you can reach places you're not meant to as Scout, and this means that you can actually roll out faster in certain maps in competitive. Considering that the atomizer is legal in UGC Highlander, the Winger can be complemented with it to reach some stupid places that will throw off even the most seasoned of players. Even in casual play, the extra mobility is really nice in popular maps in casual play such as Turbine, 2 Fort, High Tower, and more. There's a lot of depth in this that I don't even know the full extent of, and it would take a whole other video to discuss it in its entirety. But for now, just take these examples to practice with. Also keep in mind that the Winger's jump height should not be used excessively for dodging enemy fire, as while it can be useful for some situations, the extra jump height can actually be used against you, because you can pop over horizon for a sniper to snipe you or a soldier to be able to splash you, so be mindful of this. While it's not common, it actually does happen, so bear in mind. There are two kinds of Scouts out there in the world. The ones that pride themselves in their aim, or the ones that pride themselves in their movement. Okay, yeah, I know it's not that simple, but let's just use this as a paradigm to analyze your own playstyle, okay? So I heard Banny once say on a stream that he doesn't use the winger because he doesn't need the extra mobility, which actually gave me a revelation that maybe I use the winger as a crutch for my movement, not being able to perfectly crouch jump every time. And I'm willing to admit that, I guess. As I take more pride in my aim, and I feel that the ability to have a stronger punch to my pistol is really nice to pepper off enemies that didn't die to my scattergun. As well as the extra mobility bonus means I don't have to be absolutely perfect with my C-tapping to get to places, or my crouch jumping to get to places. However, a scout that's perfectly capable of crouch jumping won't really need the extra mobility boost, save for a few niche jumps that will help you roll out faster or surprise your enemy. Granted, there are some of these, but not too many to be definitively better than the stock pistol. The smaller mag capacity is less forgiving than the stock pistol, so while it is a bit of a crutch for some micro movement, you will have to have some excellent aim. On the other side of the coin, you can use the stock pistol if you have no issue with those perfect C taps and crouch jumping. I will honestly tell you that even if you do have excellent aim, the winger's extra damage bonus is only useful some of the time. And while you can technically pepper off an opponent much more quickly with the winger, the stock pistol's extra forgiveness with its mag capacity is slightly more reliable in making frags. So while you will need better aim for the winger due to the shorter clip size, the damage bonus does not make up for the raw reliability of the forgiving nature of the stock pistol's clip size. So in short, are you confident in your aim? Consider the winger. Are you confident in your movement? Consider the stock pistol. As both weapons make complementary helping hands to help you out where you really need it. As someone who loves using the winger, it's hard to deny the stock pistol's reliability in securing frags. If you want to be the scout that makes all the frags, you will find that this pistol will be just a tiny bit more reliable thanks to its forgiving mag capacity. However, that does not mean that the stock pistol is better by any means, as for just as many times you wish you had the stock's forgiving mag while this is equipped, you will be grateful for the number of clutch plays you can pull off with this thing. Being able to get behind enemy lines faster through being able to jump barriers that the scout shouldn't be able to, and throwing off opponents with the extra jump height. The damage bonus makes picking medic easier at both competitive levels and casual levels of play, because the medic will never be overhealed in comp, and if the medic survives your shots with a scattergun, he will most likely be able to die with a first and accurate, should I add, shot in your pistol, which will have a better damage bonus with the winger. In casual pubs, the medic won't be healed either because either no one will be playing medic or the 4 medics will be too stupid to heal each other instead of that Gibbous Heavy with 2 hours in the fucking game. So if you want to make plays and be the badass that makes those clutch plays that secure points and victories, consider using the winger. If you want reliability and to be the impressive frag monster, consider using the stock pistol. Remember that you don't have to always commit to one or the other, but instead consider what your team will need at the time. The winger, in my opinion, is one of the most well-balanced side grades in the game. You can't sleep on it, as its versatility can make for some crazy clutch plays or even some hilarious trolling shenanigans. However, it should be noted that the winger in most situations shouldn't be used over the stock pistol for its damage bonus, as the stock pistol will be more reliable in securing frags in most situations. In the right hands, the winger can be deadly, but the same goes for the stock pistol. Both are incredibly useful in their own rights, and I hope this guide helped you get a further understanding of when and what to use. Different situations will call for a different pistol if you want to be optimal, and nothing else can get you better with these weapons than to go out there and practice. For example, I didn't know where else to put this in, but the stock pistol is a lot better at dealing with mini-sentries. But then again, you can make faster rollouts with the winger. So there are situational advantages to both, and I hope this video will inspire you and make you more aware of all your options given to you as a good scout. So I'd like to make a quick shout out to Xenomite. His content's really funny, and he actually helped me out a lot in this video, so he encouraged me and motivated me a lot, and I might not even finish this one if it weren't for him, so go check out his stuff. Oh, and by the way, Xeno, I still have no Schrödinger.